We got over the best movies of every year that I have seen. Of course, there's movies I have seen since then that would also compete for that list, but there's a lot of movies that I have seen over the past decade. So we'll go over the worst or most disappointing movies. Not Mega Man, that doesn't count. But we'll be going over the most overrated, the worst movies of that decade. And we'll be basically we're going over every single year of every single movie that I didn't care for of that decade. So we'll be starting with 2010, and there weren't many movies I watched from 2010 as well. Yes, my hair has expanded by like 2 or 3 movies since my best movies list, which I made a long time ago. But I think the worst movie of the decade would probably be the third Predator movie or the Pokemon movie, which the lowest score is a 5 out of 10. And yeah, let's go to movies I actually seen. I'm not giving it a 1 out of 10 for a stupid reason like Mega Man, because I don't really care for Mega Man, so I can give it a 1 out of 10. But I think it has to be Predators. Predators was just not that great. It was just boring. It wasn't really that great. Pokemon was at least entertaining. This was just a Schwartz. Next is 2011. And what is the worst movie of 2011? Well, simple as that, Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. This movie was a massive disappointment. The first movie was so great. It was so cool. But the sequel just sucked. It was just so boring and dull. It's just something that nobody wants out of a sequel. To be boring? No, not really entertaining at all. And there we go. That's Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. Moving on. 2012. What is the worst movie to release in 2012? Well, that has to be John Carter, because I literally only watched 8 movies from 2012. Yep. Only 8 movies from that year, even though that year had record-breaking success for movies worldwide. John Carter is just a boring movie. It's not really that interesting. It's one of the worst sci-fi movies I've ever seen. And I am not exaggerating on that. John Carter was a massive disappointment. It was when I saw it the first time. I saw it the second time last year. It still sucked as well. And the closest to it would probably be Madagascar for Ice Age Squids and Quartz, which is still with like a 5-star difference. So, next movie. So, I've seen a lot of movies since then in 2013. I made my best movies of the year. And what is the worst movie of the year? Well, I gotta go for all the movies first. Well, the lowest rated movie I think is going to default to Monsters University. It was kind of just a disappointment of a sequel. Yes, it's not a 5 out of 10. It's a 6 out of 10 movie. But this movie is tied of For the Dark World and Grown Ups 2. For the Dark, I'll probably put this as a tie. For the Dark World was an insanely disappointing sequel as well, just like Monsters University, even though Monsters University was a prequel. For the Dark World was just boring and had really nothing to it. It was just boring. But at least it was still at least a bit funny. Grown Ups 2 was funny, but it's the worst sequel of the original movie. It even has a worse rating than the first movie. It already does. And the first movie was better than the second one. Simple as that. Next is 2014. But before I start 2014, if I had to pick, it would probably be For the Dark World. 2014 had actually a lot of good movies, but you all know my worst movie of the year, Divergent. Divergent completely sucks, and it's completely a horrible franchise. Divergent is probably one of the worst movie franchises I've ever seen. Yes, it's even worse than the 50 Shades of Grey franchise. Divergent is just not that interesting. I watched all of them, and they just get worse and worse. This movie is just garbage in every way. And they're like, oh my god, the Hunger Games is so successful, but let's find the second best thing, because you know there's only so many Hunger Games books. Let's make the Divergent movie. And no one liked it, because nobody cared about it. They made 2 sequels too, but they both also sucked. I think Divergent is going to be a recurring name we're going to be seeing in these videos. Next is 2015. 2015 was a very interesting year of movies. And, of course, 2015 also had Terminator Genesis. Terminator Genesis was a complete awful and horrible. And did Insurgent come out this year? Let's see. Insurgent. Did I even rate that movie? It did come out in 2015, and that movie doesn't have a rating for some reason. Well, I guess now I know the worst movie of the year is Divergent Series Insurgent. A movie just as bad as the first movie. The first movie already sucked, and the second movie sucks. They were really trying to milk the Divergent series dry. Really dry. The second movie was just not the interesting. Now they basically now are running away from the 40s because he's different. It's just such a stupid storyline that doesn't make any sense at all. It's like, why? Why did they have to give this horrible, and this is probably the same thing as the book as well. The book and the movie suck. Number 2016. Next is 2015. Yeah, they were like, the worst movie. Okay, I think I accidentally paused the video. Okay, 2016, the worst movie of 2016. If I repeat myself, then I'm sorry that I repeated myself. But the worst movie of 2016, we have a couple pretty bad eggs. X-Men Apocalypse, Batman vs. Superman, Ghostbusters 2016, Independence Day Resurgence, and going all the way down here, we have nothing else. So, Ghostbusters 2016, I actually have not seen the full movie, so I'm not going to rank that one. But, we'll be ranking all the rest. So first, it's Independence Day Resurgence, a very, very unnecessary and disappointing sequel. Well, also, came out this year, not good. Batman vs. Superman, complete garbage, very big disappointment. So they were like, okay, let's make Batman vs. Superman fight. Okay? And then they released Civil War a few months afterwards, and the Civil War beat Batman vs. Superman. Really also about two of the main superheroes of that series also fighting. And they did it way better. And the storyline of that movie was way better. Let's watch that one instead. Another movie is Allegiant. Complete garbage, just like the Divergent franchise as a whole. And yep, that's really it. Number 2017. 2017 had a lot of unsatisfactory movies, but there's actually a lot of decent movies. First, we had the Beauty and the Beast remake, Star Wars The Last Jedi, come out, Ghost in the Shell, oh yes, Atomic Blonde, American Assassin, another horrible movie, and 47 Meters Down, but we all know the worst movie of 2017. It's obvious, the Emoji Movie. Do I have to say more? I hate this movie. I wish they never made the Emoji Movie. They could have considering they had that much talent to make Spider-Verse, why did they make a movie about talking emojis? No movie coming out that year could top the horrendousness of the Emoji Movie. Not even movies like Smurf the Lost Village, Unicorn Store, which for some reason came out considered that year, and Ghost in the Shell, all movies I do not like, still, yep, are better than the Emoji Movie. It actually used to be my number one movie for worst movie for 2 whole years. 2 whole years. It was my number one worst movie of all at the time until Cats finally dethroned it, and then Cats didn't even get a whole year until all know what movie came out in 2020. Number 2018. So, the worst movie of 2018, we had a lot of pretty bad stinkers. Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald released. Why? This is a complete disgrace of a movie. Pacific Rim Uprising, the Tomb Raider movie, it's still better than the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider movies, but that isn't really saying much because Angelina Jolie is terrible. And Smallfoot. Yep, that movie existed. The Velocity passed it, but I'm gonna give that movie a pass because that movie was meant to be bad. Fast Color and Redcon 1, and of course EM3 Days. That movie exists. But what is the worst movie out of all of the movies that were released of that year? Well, I'm going to tell you that it's very, very hard. Because there's so many bad movies that year. So we're going to find at least one to differentiate from, and I would probably still pick EM3 Days. It's just such a slouch of a movie. It's just, oh yeah, oh wait, then there's Jurassic Galaxy. Those also came on the same year. Okay, EM3 Days, you are saved. Jurassic Galaxy. Yep, this movie is completely garbage. Story, garbage. CGI, garbage. Everywhere about Jurassic Galaxy, complete garbage. Okay? Jurassic Galaxy is just complete garbage. You should never watch it, ever. Probably my top 10 worst movies of all time. That's saying something. 2019. What is the worst movie of 2019? Is it the Lion King remake? Is it Captain Marvel? Well, it's Cats. Do I even have to explain why Cats is the worst movie of that year? There's also Knock Down the House and What Men Want. Do I have to even explain why Cats is the worst movie of 2019? Do I even have to explain why Cats is the worst movie of 2019? No? Well, Cats gives you nightmares. Just look at these characters. It's just, my eyes are burning now after seeing the designs. It's just, no. Every time. I didn't even give it a score because I didn't want to see those ugly nightmares again. So, yep, the worst movie of 2019, even though there's so many other horrible and awful movies, such as the soulless Lion King remake, such as Escape Room, What Men Want, Knock Down the House. Nothing compares to Cats. Nothing compares to Cats of the worst movie of the year. So that's basically it. Goodbye.